My name is Tyler Galassi, and I'll be doing my presentation on my research proposal titled De-Extinction in the Woolly Mammoth, Bringing Back the Hairy Giant. And if you don't know what a woolly mammoth looks like, there's one right there. So what exactly is de-extinction? It's the name for it's a recent process that can reverse a species extinction, and it can make it possible. According to Dolly Ergison in her article, Reintroduction to De-Extinction, she said, this process can be used for any species where the DNA can be collected. For example, there's a species of goat that went extinct. It's called the bucardo. It was a goat that lived in the Pyrenees Mountains that divide Spain and France. They roamed there for thousands of years and survived harsh winters. It wasn't until humans started hunting them that their population began to dwindle. And in 1989, the final barracuda, her name was, scientists named her Cecilia. They found her crushed under a tree, and it was the official marking of their extinction. But what makes it so interesting is that they actually used de-extinction on this species. They were able to extract her DNA and actually bring back a barracuda. She was a little small one. I don't believe she survived, but it showed that de-extinction is actually possible. And what I think is so cool about that is it's almost like a futuristic technique. Some of you seen, like, for example, Jurassic Park. It's in a movie, but here it is in real life happening. And so, for the woolly mammoth, where that comes in, what I want to talk about in my research proposal is if it was actually our fault humans' fault as to why they went extinct. And David, I don't want to butcher his name, David Nogueras Bravo's article entitled "Climate Change, Humans, and the Extinction of the Woolly Mammoth," he stated that climate warming in the Holocene, which is the time after the Ice Age ended, might have driven the extinction of the cold, adapted species, yet species did survive previous warming periods, suggesting that it's more plausible that humans were the cause of the woolly mammoth, since they did hunt them, since they provided a lot of meat. They also ran population models in this article that suggested that the collapse of the climate change caused a significant drop in woolly mammoth population, which also increased the pressure on them to stay alive, since humans did hunt for them. So I pose a question: if humans are responsible for making them extinct, why should we not bring them back? That's kind of like a moral standpoint. So my materials and methods for my research proposal would be extracting the DNA from a woolly mammoth, and what we would do would be to use permafrost remains, and since usually that just involves bones. In the article entitled "Genetic Structure and Extinction of the Woolly Mammoth" by Ian Barnes, he suggested using a Specs freezer mill or a 20 millimeter drill bit to at a very low speed to drill into the bone and extract DNA. And then would take this DNA and insert it into one of three species of elephants, which they are the African elephant, the Asian elephant, and the African forest elephant. They would be able to take the DNA from the mammoth and placing it inside like the stem cells, the stem cells of the elephants. Three of each species would be used to take the DNA, and what would happen after the DNA is placed in these elephants, all the stages of development for that fetus, if it's able to even grow, would be monitored by ultrasound. And like I said, assuming the embryo forms and begins to grow, it would be monitored by ultrasound. And depending on which elephant species would be able to give birth to the mammoth, modifications will be made to, or in order to perfect the growth and birth of So once in the event that a mammoth is able to be born and able to survive these conditions, once it is born, it should be reintroduced into the environment. And the big thing about this is, yeah, it's cool that you can bring something back from de-extinction, but bringing something back actually helps the environment. I read in a recent article that bringing back certain animals like the passenger pigeon in England, I believe it was England, that once they were extinct, that the climate or the area that they're in, like the forest, were degraded. Once they came back, they were able to actually bring back the lush green, like the lush forest that they're in, just because they're like kind of engineers of the environment. So bringing back a woolly mammoth, I believe, would be able to do the same thing. In conclusion, like I said, bringing them back would be able to bring back certain areas like where they would be in Siberia, but in my mind, it's kind of like I mentioned previously, it's a moral standpoint. As humans, we do destroy a lot of things going on in the environment, climate change, like it's a recent issue, and obviously taking out animals such as tigers, where there's only 3,200 left in the world, and if they continue to be hunted where they're at this pace, they'll be gone within 10 years. Which kind of hits me in a personal area because it's my favorite animal. But yeah, it's a moral standpoint. It's just to help out the biodiversity in the world and just to make, I believe, the planet a better place. These are all the references I use.